All right, welcome everybody. This is it. This is the last invitational of the 2024 year. I wanted to give a quick rundown what everyone's playing for, what to expect going forward. So let's dive right in. So the format is going to be this is going to be a two-stage draft. The preliminary draft will be everybody on the point ranking from 5 to 12. These folks are all on the left. We'll have a deep dive in there. The important thing here is that everyone who 2-1s this first draft will qualify for the final draft, where they will meet the four folks who have qualified with a bye, the two people who've won the qualifiers before, and the top 2 point getters who have not won qualifiers. So again, we'll go through all of those there and then what everybody is playing for. But that is the structure. First draft will be foundations. Also, a quick announcement for 2025, all of these qualifiers, all of these invitationals, the first draft will be foundations. The second draft will be whatever the standard set is for the period. So be on the lookout. That change has been made now. We're not doing the premier sets for the second draft. We are doing the standard sets. Sets that are drafted a little bit more often. People know the format more, and it's a little bit less gimmicky. So, as the case, the 2024 store championship. This is the end of the year championship. This will be all four standard sets will be drafted this time. So the 8 people who qualify will draft all 4 of these sets. Murders of Karlov Manor, Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Bloomborough, and Dustmorn. So they'll be drafting that, and they'll be eliminating to find our 2024 store champion. We have 6 people who've already punched their ticket. Andrew and Brad, myself and Matthew, Casey and Jeremy. All 6 of us are also in the end of or in the invitational this year, so we cannot take another spot. So that actually makes the path a little bit cleaner for the other 6 people who are not qualified. So but this is the last one. So this is win or go home. The first draft, the preliminary draft. So for the folks who need to 2-1 or better to get themselves into the final draft, they will be drafting foundations, and this format will be what we'll be using going forward. So quick rundown for those of you who aren't familiar with foundations. We've drafted it twice. We've done an invitational. Sorry, that should be a qualifier. We've done a pre-release jumpstart. The speed's kind of medium. It's going to feel slow because a lot of the sets recently have been really fast, but it's a medium speed set. So the numbers here are all going to be pulled from 17 lands. Any of these metrics here, splashing is decent. There's dual lands at common. There's an evolving wilds. It can be done. Probably not playing a true 3 colors though. Synergy is medium, maybe going towards medium high, where you want to be in a specific deck. So synergy meaning you want to be in a deck versus you want powerful cards. I would say it's medium, probably leaning towards medium high from my experience, but we will see. We will have plenty of time because foundations will be standard for the next 5 years. So it'll be available for a while. We will draft it, when there are times for it. So we'll see how the synergy bears out. Quick rundown of the archetypes. Everything, if it's in green, it has a higher than 56% win percentage. This is coming from 17 lands. The average win rate of someone on 17 lands is, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 54%. So if you are green, you're good, which is right now just the Flyers deck. We have a pretty good middle class here with looks like 6 decks in between 53 and 56%. And then you see all the ones at the bottom there. These decks, these are just general deck win percentages, so that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody couldn't win with a blue-red spells deck. Just giving you guys an update, quick rundown of what the better performing decks are, but this is a pretty tight spread overall. So, and we got a good middle class. Don't need to be forcing anything here. As you saw, a lot of the green decks were in the lower tier, but you do have 3 mono green cards as being the highest win rate bombs, 2 of which at rare, only 1 at mythic, and then also a green splash, a green multicolored card here. So these are the cards that if you open this is really going to pull you in a solid direction. Obviously, Planeswalkers are good with two of those on the list with Liliana and Vivian. The set is slow, so slower, as I said, the medium speed, so you can get up to a 6 mana cost like Vivian. So you can do wild things. The Leyline Axe, obviously, if you just start with that, big shocker. If you look at opening hand win rate, Leyline Axe is the highest winning card in the set. So these are just some cards you want to look out that spread out across a bunch of different archetypes. If you open one of these, you're sitting pretty. For those of you familiar, Scavenging Ooze has been around for forever. That one's kind of unassuming. I would not have thought it would have been that high, but it does a lot of good work in this format. It can get huge. It can eliminate any graveyard synergies, gain you some life. So just a couple of cards to be on the lookout for. Much more important to look for are these are the non-rare cards and what their win rates are. So see here, the top 10 cards kind of cuts out at about 61, just under 62%. And then these cards are only dropping off a couple of points. Even the Dreadwing Scavenger would have been one of the top performing cards in rare, would have been the 7th highest card there. You're starting to see not as much green here at the non-rare level, which is why it's probably lower. But you are seeing 2 signpost uncommons, 2 of these multicolor uncommons, a lot of blue showing up, a lot of white, a lot of black. That seems to be the colors that people are thinking are the most deep at non-rare. So are these going to be the colors that people fight over? If everybody fights over this, is there a Gruul deck that does very well? Very much an option. So things to be on the lookout here. You see in all the major archetypes and the crossover there. So people who 2-1, you do well. You do open up some good cards. What's your reward? You're going on to Duskmourn. Duskmourn, this is the horror set. So this set is going to be easier to splash. It has better synergy. I would say it has higher synergy. Sorry, I didn't put how many times we drafted. We've done this a few times. Quick rundown of the archetypes. You'll see it's a little bit higher, especially for the 2 white decks, the red-white and the white-blue. But then there are 2 white decks in the bottom third with green-white and white-black. So important to be in the right decks. Important to get the cards that are critical for your decks in Duskmourn. Want to go over some of the bombs here. Looks like we do have a bomb of every color, so you could theoretically open up any card and be pulled into a direction pretty hard. We're seeing the best cards in this set are performing better than the best cards from Foundation, so it's not as bomb heavy. Some of these overlords are just difficult to kill. The Volgrass Onslaught is just a monster, just produces a ton of volume. The Unholy Annex, that room that opens up into a demon, draws you cards, and you have a demon. So a bunch of great cards here. Again, things will put you in a solid direction. And the bombs here are probably better than the bombs in Foundations. Plus, the removal is worse in Duskmourn. So if you stick a bomb, it's more likely to stick. And then the non-rares, what I like seeing here is that you have 5 of the signpost uncommons in the top 10. So here are, you open up one of these, you get pulled in a firm direction. Other than that, you are seeing a lot of the white-blue cards there. So cards to look at, cards that'll pull you in a direction, cards that people will be definitely looking for here in Duskmourn. All right. Going to be going through everybody who has qualified for the invitational. So first we're going to go through the folks in the preliminary draft. Austin Esposito, this is his fourth quarterly championship, not qualified for the end of the year yet. So he is the highest point getter who is not qualified for the end of the year. One of the few people who've increased their winning percentage this season. So this season, people have just been busy, and with the end of the year, different things. So the competition has been a little bit more of the regulars. So a lot of folks have seen their winning percentage go down. Austin has actually jumped his, which has been impressive here. So he's been in a bunch of these. He's played all these folks. Very easily could get himself through to the next round. Then win a couple, get himself into the end of the year again. He's the highest point getter across the board. So seeing his win percentage go up, seeing his plays gets tighter. Congratulations, Austin. being part of the 200 point club, joining that this season. So well done. He's been one of our consistent drafters. So very, very much has a chance to get himself through to the end of the year. So Jeremy's the previous, single season point leader, fifth quarterly championship. One of our regulars. This is a tough one. His Q4 is always tough because of, his kids got sports. So it's tough for him to get the volume of events to get the buy. But, obviously going to do well. Played against all these folks. Tons of matches in here. So expect him to do well. Join the 300 club. So for those old timers there who appreciate my references there. So you'll see, a couple, he's got, 100% win percentage against Brad and Cheyenne, good win percentage against everyone else. He's not going to be intimidated by anyone he goes up against. So he also is qualified. So this is a fun one for him. Myself also qualified, so I'm not going to be, as stressed out. I want to win. I want to get the prizes. So, obviously I've been around since the beginning. So, double-digit matches versus three of the people here. Saw my own win percentage go down because it was tough competition here. But, we'll see if I can get myself through. But I already got my ticket, so no big deal from my part. Andrew hasn't been able to come to the second half of the season, picked up a new job, but did get himself qualified, got his points in, qualified for the end of the year. Super high win percentage. If you're anybody who's in the, the plus 60, 65%, it's going to be tough. It's really tough to get your win percentage to improve when you're in the 70s, but he was able to do that. So even without being able to come out to a lot of events, Andrew's still keeping up with the formats, knows what's going on. We expect him to do well, but he's not going to be taking up anyone's slot for the end of the year. All right, Pippin. So Pippin's going to be in the preliminary draft here. So for those of you who've played against him and played any foundations, you would think this is a good format for him. Pippin likes to, whenever you sit across from him, he likes to play his powerful things. He plays a lot of colors. You never really know what's going to pop out of the deck. And with a format that gives him enough time to do that, this is definitely something that's going to bode well for him. Going to bode well for him going into the future, that this will be the preliminary draft all of next year. So going to have the ability to get some powerful things out against you. You're not going to know what's coming out. You're not going to know what to be prepared for when you're playing against him. So very well could get himself through into the final draft. Get himself into the final draft. You may not have to do too much heavy lifting there. So depending on how many other people who've qualified join him. Hunter, another person where works picked up, but he, earned enough points, got himself qualified. This is his third quarterly championship. So got himself into the 100-point club before that work picked up. So see if he can't come, get himself familiar with the sets. I don't think he wasn't able to draft Dustmorn a ton, wasn't able to draft Foundations a ton. You come out, you use your good instincts, you use all your mechanics, see if you can't get yourself through there. So I think Hunter's got himself a good chance to get through. And we got a first timer with Cheyenne. So Cheyenne, this is her first event. So she does a Pathfinder event every other Friday. So her points are lower than they would be if she otherwise was more available. But comes out, one of our heavy popper players, plays against all these folks consistently, but isn't always able to make drafts. So again, she's not going to be intimidated by, playing against all these people. She knows them. She's used to playing competitively. But she's just not able to make drafts, so her points are going to be lower than otherwise expected. Easily could get herself 2 wins, get herself into the finals, get herself into the end of the year from there. Jordan's one of our folks who's been around since the beginning, bounces around between a bunch of games. This is his second league quarterly championship. So he doesn't always get to play as many events as others, but he usually gets a good win percentage when he does. He's in that 60% win range there. So been playing since the store opened. This is somebody, again, easily could 2-1, easily could 3-0, get himself into the finals, make a run, get himself into the end of the year. So those 8 people are the folks in the preliminary draft. Reminder that Jeremy, myself, and Andrew, if we pass through to the final draft, we cannot take the end of the year slot. So for Austin, Pippin, Cheyenne, Hunter, and Jordan, they are looking for as many of Jeremy, myself, and Andrew to pass through with them because we'll just do additional blocking there. So this is going to be just a 3-round draft. Everyone will come out, and the pairing will be natural. We are not going to force pairings at all. Depending on who goes through, we are going to go through to the final draft participants. Depending on how many people go through, we will potentially pair people so that they're facing folks who have similar expectations and similar needs. So we don't want if at all possible, people who are playing folks who can't qualify when able. But we'll see. That all depends on the numbers. So our points leader, great season here from Brad Brooks, tied the single season points record of 104, set by Casey last season. 5th quarterly championship, points leader, wins invitational, has won some invitationals, used to these structured tournament, joined the 300-point club. Again, he's played Casey and myself double-digit times. Looks like, positive win percentage, plus 50% win percentage for the entire field, except for Jeremy. So, Brad this very well could be his season. Take it all down. He's won these before. Can't take anyone's spot though. Casey, again, single season point record, used to these type of events. Again, win percentages in the 70s, so it was tough for it to go up this season, but drafted consistently. He has the most career matches of anyone here. Used to these type of tournaments. Great win percentage. Nothing really to say about Casey. First person to join the 400-point club, though. All-time point leader. Already qualified. Casey, Brad, and Matthew, they're all kind of looking ahead to the end of the year. Can they stamp their ticket as being the 2024 champion? So Matthew, always high in points, always high in win percentage, would have an even higher point total if his Saturdays let him come out for the qualifiers more. Again, gonna come out and do well. Not gonna take anybody's slot, but the person who's put himself in the best position here is Lawrence. So this is Lawrence's first quarterly championship, joining Cheyenne and Jordan. Jordan's been one before. Cheyenne and Lawrence are their first time here. Lawrence does have the advantage of the bye, so he doesn't have to get through that foundations set. Lawrence has been consistently coming out for Q4. It was coming out a little bit in Q3, just didn't give himself enough runway there. So this is going to be his first event. So could very well do what, get himself through, solid player here. Only needs to win 2, or may not even need to win 2. There is a world where Lawrence will know if Jeremy, Andrew, and I all advance, Lawrence will know the other 2 people would have to be pushed through, so he would be good there. So we will see what he has to do, but he's set himself up well. He just needs to get a good draft here of Dustmore. So that is the event. It will be this Saturday at 12 o'clock for the preliminary, and then the final draft will be at 5. It'll also be the Christmas party. So we are excited for this season. We're excited to see who wins and who will go on to the end of the year event, and I will do a recording on that format. So thank you, everybody.